You are now listening to the world's best soccer card podcast. We love footy, and we love the cardboard they come on. Welcome to another edition of Special One Cards with your host, Paulo. The Special One Cards podcast is a part of SBCL Media, and now let's take it over to our host.
All right, guys, welcome. I don't know whether to call this a webinar or a pod, Sam. I'm kind of confused here. Maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know, because we're going to have some reactions from yourself. And also, Pete My Cards is going to be joining us, Cesar, all the way from Canada. So this is going to be fun. What's been going on with you? Anything good?
Man, what have I been doing? I've been was off today and pretty much just chilled. Sold a few cards yesterday, so shipped them out. Watched the probably one of the more boring Premier League games I've seen in a while, though that Arsenal game wasn't the most exciting either.
Oh, Everton leads today? Yeah. Porto won today 2-0 to Gil Vicente, but Samu got hurt.
That's not good.
And they don't know if it's anything serious yet. The early reports it's a muscle strain, but I don't know if there's been an update on what it might be. I think there's a lot of good information in here for people to look at to make some decisions. I like to call it decisions, but these are not both hobby and kind of, I guess, investing decisions. So let me see if My Cards is in here yet.
Hopped in.
First of all, thank you for those that completed this survey. That's a big thing. Sam, you're one of them. And the reason why I want to peep My Cards on this is that I don't think he did the survey or even knew about it. So I kind of wanted to get a perspective that way. And maybe Justin being in the comments that he can also give his input too. I can actually put him on the stream too if you wanted to, Justin. Can get you on the stream as well. It's up to you, man. But we don't have to. That's totally up to you. Here's Caesar. There he is.
What's going on, boys?
Hey, man. You guys know each other?
No,
I'm Caesar. Nice to meet you.
I'm Sam. Nice to meet you.
So Peeps My Cards and Wix Cards. So one of the reasons why I wanted you on here was because I don't think you completed the survey, right?
No.
Did you even know about it?
Sorry, I knew about it and I was trying to get access to it, but I think it was already done by the time
it closed out. Yeah.
Yeah. By the time I even know who you were. I was still pretty new to this.
Somebody like you on here. So Justin, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. This is the first ever, I don't think anyone's ever done this. I'm going to say I'm the first one to do this. I'll take full credit for that. But this is kind of a project that goes along with Ultimate 90. That website is not live as I'm working on improvements. I'm going to shift it a little only towards soccer cards. I think trying to cover too much of the culture was just too much. And I think cards are more important. We can be really niche. So this is a survey, Understanding the Soccer Card Hobby, Insights from Collectors 2025 edition. I plan on trying to do these every year in some capacity. And hopefully I get a really good amount of samples and people to give feedback on it. So there's the Ultimate 90 logo. There's my Instagram for anybody that needs that. Those guys, you'll also see their Wigs Cards and Peeps My Cards. I'm going to put their Instagrams in the descriptions after the video. So if you guys want to throw follows for them, much appreciated. Hopefully you guys already follow me. So that's important. All right. So the objective of this survey was to analyze collector preferences, favorite sets, players, and market trends in the soccer card hobby based on survey responses. So some of the key questions, guys: what types of soccer cards are most popular? Which brands and sets dominate the modern market? Who are the most iconic players in the hobby? That's probably an easy question. What factors make a soccer card great? Any feedback on that kind of stuff? And we're going to go through this. There's more in-depth questions within the survey. I just wanted to kind of keep it brief on that introduction slide so people understand what the intentions of this were. And then the ultimate intention of the whole thing I'll discuss later on as well. Any questions there, guys?
Looks pretty solid, those 4 points there. Like, what more can you really ask for?
Here are the demographics. Now, this is where you guys might have questions or concerns, or maybe I missed something. Here are the key insights. You guys can see my cursor, right? Age distribution. So this was really interesting to me, that this right here, that the age distribution on this survey was 35 to 44 years old. It comprised almost half of the total respondents, so 47%. And the 45 plus was 9%. So if you add that up, it's over 50%. We're over 35 years old.
Makes sense.
I was actually surprised by that. I would have thought we would have seen more in this space.
I feel like the 35 to 44% is like matured adults in their career that have like the disposable income to kind of
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. This number didn't surprise me at 10%. The age range of 18 to 24, the 25 to 34 was 34%. So pretty good distribution amongst the older crowd. Like you said, more disposable income, obviously. I thought we would have gotten more in terms of, let's say, worldwide responses. 68% of the USA, obviously 11% Canada. Thanks to your buddies up there, Cesar.
Yeah.
UK had 3%, Portugal 2%, Germany 2%, and then others. So Asia, and I included them all in a different, include them in the others. So basically 2% Malaysia in the world. So we had some people from Malaysia complete this as well. So pretty good. This is so, when we look at Europe, 7% of respondents, that just shows you kind of like how behind I think Europe still is in terms of the card aspect versus the stickers. What do you guys think about that? 7% in Europe. I think that seems extremely low to me, but and I'm making an assumption here by saying that I think that's because they're still really in a sticker heavy kind of continent. You know what I mean?
I think they're starting to grow more into the card, like more into cards as opposed to stickers. They still have stickers, but they're starting to grow more, and like you're starting to see more like content out of the UK for like card shows and whatnot. I know they have exclusive boxes that they sell like at those events. So like you're definitely starting to see it grow. I mean, at the SoCo, we're meeting somebody from Sweden, so I think it's definitely growing. And it might take time, but it's definitely starting to develop.
Yeah, I feel like Germany's not surprising. UK is obviously not surprising too. Portugal, like that's a pretty significant amount. Also, you probably have a lot of Portuguese people in your thing completing the survey. I feel like
Yeah.
the rest of Europe is also like they're more into memorabilia. For example, jerseys, signed jerseys, even boots, things not card related. And I'm seeing a lot more in like Spain. Like a lot of my followers are people from Spain that are collecting like the mega cracks boxes, the match attacks, things like that. And I'm seeing a lot more people engage in that Pops Total Football app where I didn't even know it's like you're gamifying cards and you can actually print cards and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be huge for like the younger demographics too in Europe. And now that people are starting to pay more attention to cards now, especially with Lamine Yamal like leading the way, people are going to be attracted by him in Europe, and then it's going to trickle down to the Messis, Ronaldos, and their personal collections. So I feel like Europe's probably going to catch up. I'm surprised not to see like more South American in there, to be honest.
Yeah, I was too. And I wonder if that's just I don't have enough people following me there that didn't complete the survey, because I know I have a few down there, but
Like I noticed there's a lot of Mexican collectors, and they collect like
yeah.
heavy like vintage cards and like personal collections. Like I had a few Mexican guys like buy stuff off of me too. They live in the States,
Yeah.
but they're obviously like
Big Mexico fans. Yeah, they
Yeah.
collect the players of their national team. It makes sense. For me, this kind of means a few things, and I could be wrong in saying this, but so 7% in Europe, there's probably a distribution problem there. And now Fanatics just opened that place in London, so maybe that gets improved. And I know with the UK not being in the EU technically anymore, that presents an issue, obviously, with the duty taxes and things of that nature. And I understand, I'm trying to remember where I think David Adams has a distribution now in Ireland. I could be wrong, but I think they're in Ireland as well. So it could be that. It could be the distribution issue where I know in Portugal, there really aren't card shops. There are sticker card. There's like I know Cromos in Porto is like a store that they specialize in stickers, I'm pretty sure. And I should
I see they're
actually,
having a lot of what's it called, shows there. Like there was one recently that happened in Porto, I believe.
yeah, it was the same weekend of the national. And it looked like it went pretty well. And Hooked on Soccer Cards was actually there. He's set up there, and I'm gonna have him on this week for an episode because we're gonna try to promote his show that's coming up. He's doing an all soccer show down in New Jersey in September. So I want to support him as much as I can because I think it's a good idea. Obviously, he's trying to find a kind of follow the SoCo method, not to compete with them, but trying to do something on the East Coast where some people that weren't able to attend a national or aren't able to travel as much, because he can get a lot of people from, New England, New Jersey, obviously New York,
New
and
Bedford.
even the Atlantic area, New Bedford, Fall River, Rhode Island, a lot of big Portuguese community there.
Yeah.
we don't really know how many of them collect. But now the other thing is here, I also was able to kind of capture the collecting experience. So 5+ years of collecting, 36% in the survey, 3 to 5 years, 33%, 1 to 3 years, 28%. And then less than a year, 3%. This was kind of interesting to me because some of this comes after COVID happened. So it's good to see that people were jumping into this even after COVID. Obviously, people love the sport. You know, I'm always saying I think hockey's got the in terms of collector base and people that really collect, people that don't really flip much. The example I give people is those of 99 RPAs out of the cup. You don't find those on eBay very much. People kind of keep those because they collect those players. Whereas I think in the soccer market, we see more people flipping. But as time has gone by, and I've noticed this, the cards that are older, you see less and less of them, even the stuff from 2020, 2021, right? I think a lot of people are holding stuff. And maybe it's collectors, or maybe it's people waiting for the World Cup, waiting for that boom to happen, which I don't think is going to happen. I think the market's kind of realized what it should do at this point. It may happen. I could be wrong, but what do you guys think about this kind of this? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It looks pretty good to me. I see no concerns there with that.
It looks pretty good. It seems like 2/3 have been participating, yeah, since COVID essentially. I know for myself, I fall into the less than 1 year, but like pretty soon it's gonna be for the rest of my life.
Well, that's the thing. It becomes kind of one of those things where there's a lot of people that, you know, that follow me on the gram and they are nowhere to be found anymore. Like I've messaged some of these people and they don't respond. People left the hobby. Once it got too hard, they left. You come in now and you're having fun with it, right? That's the first thing, is you got to have fun with it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people left because it became kind of hard, right, Sam? You know, we saw that kind of the last 2 summers
Right.
where it was hard to sell stuff.
I mean, I think it's definitely gotten better, like to sell stuff, but also like, and if you are somebody that's actively trying to sell stuff, like you have to put the work in. You can't just, you know, willy nilly anymore. Like whenever, you know, back when I first started getting like really into soccer cards, like in 21, 22, I think, or 22, you could, you know, pretty much sell anything. People would buy it or put it up on auction, $1 go, and, you know, get bids on it. Like now it's,
Yeah, it was like the Wild West on whatnot. You know, people
right.
would put, you know, I'm trying to like think here, like Adeyemi rookies, you know, got to get those Adeyemi rookies, you know, whatever it was, people are buying, you know. It's just not that. I think, and part of it is I think people got smarter too, you know.
Yeah, the soccer hobby was also still like you said, it was the Wild West. Like I'm assuming that like people didn't really know much about it, how to price things, so people were just buying like whatever they thought was good or whatever price they wanted to get that card, they would get it at whatever price. You know, they're willing to pay whatever it was. There weren't too many comps to go off of.
Yeah, and that's like one of the things that I've been watching the market in Asia very closely. And I think it's important if people don't use card hobby at all. And I know people are kind of afraid because it's China, right? People are afraid to buy from there. And like, yes, you're gambling on the condition of a card because you can't, the images are there just like eBay and you can dispute them and do that. But I think it's important to watch that market, and I watch it quite closely. So me and you guys know him as Paulo Chuva, Rui Patricio collector. We have a kind of a joint account. He sends me stuff like, put a bid in for this for me. And he's usually looking for pot cards, Pedro Gonçalves for the nickname, or Rui Patricio cards that he can't find here. And it seems like there's a lot of really good stuff in Asia, and the pricing can be significantly higher at times on certain things. Because I think that market's a little bit more educated than, and I hate to say this, I hate to be that guy, but I think they're a little more educated on the game than I think the Americans are here. And I'm an American too, but I just see things. I think they value players differently, and my observance in that is with Nev's cards. I see what they sell for over there, and they sell for a lot more than they do on eBay. And Card Ladder actually does cover card hobby for comps at times. So sometimes they are on there, and people need to know that. I think that's important to realize that while you may be able to get a better deal on eBay, you may be able to sell at a higher price point on card hobby. Now, I have not tried selling on there. I probably won't. I think it's a gamble.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the shipping is crazy. So So the way it works there is you essentially buy cards, they store them for you, just kind of like a ComC, right? And then you can have them shipped to you. So generally we'll have like me and Paulo Rui, Patricio Collector, will have 20 or 30 cards that are shipped to us. We don't, you don't want to ship one card. You know what I mean? It just,
Yeah.
it's like $40-$50 DHL.
Yeah, it's like what I would do
that's
on eBay. Like I would just like from certain like auctioneers, I would just like try to buy as many cards within my budget and then have them all shipped. I'm just buying one and pay like 70 Canadian for the
yeah,
shipping, right?
exactly.
Just ship it. But don't you find like from what I've seen based off of like at least the Instagram community that I follow and stuff, apparently there's a lot of like chilling in Asia. At least from what I see with the Asian people on eBay, a lot of people are like Murazan, those guys, like they bid up their stuff. They have people constantly bidding it up. And then even some other
Yeah,
ones like Pulse Sport.
I think that happens on Card Hobby too a little bit. It's hard to see you can see, so here's the thing about Card Hobby is if you don't pay the card in 3 days, they lock your account. So there's no like if,
No
ands, or
messing
buts
around.
about it. There's no messing around because it happened to me. And I'll tell you why it happened to me. I had a card that I bid on it and I didn't look at it close enough. And there was considerable damage to the card. So they locked the account. So I had to actually like, not argue with them, but email them constantly over 2.5 weeks to make that, their time zones are different. So
Yeah.
make that argument. So that's what it took a while to get that taken care of, but they lock your account. You're done. Like
Where's
it's
Card
over.
Hobby based out of?
I believe it's China.
China? Okay.
But they have a US division now too. I can't remember who on Instagram that does consignment for them. There's somebody that I think is Green Team Collective, I think something like that. They were at SoCo, I think. They do consignment with them. So like there's certain cards, I think in Asia would do better than they would do here in the US on eBay or Canada. It's
Yeah,
just,
like I have a friend who does like card arbitrage. Like he'll buy cards off eBay or even just locally here and then just flip them on Card Hobby.
Yep. And how does he find using Card Hobby to sell? Pretty easy.
Super easy. He's also, I think he's Chinese, like a Chinese student here, but like
Yeah.
he has like people out there too, so he'll just buy stuff here and flip it for like 1.5 to like 3x what he paid
Yeah.
here, right?
Yeah, I just think that those, and I could be wrong in saying that I think they're more educated, but I think they understand the game a little bit better and they have more respect for the midfielders of the world and the defenders of the world than us North Americans do. I know I respect those guys a lot. I know you guys do too as
100%.
well, but there are certain people they won't, they only want to buy guys that score goals. You know what I mean? It's just how the hobby is. So
I think they're
Keith,
smart too by like identifying, like for example, like they know Portuguese are gonna buy like a Portuguese defender, goalie, and midfielder, especially if they're up and coming and they came from like Benfica, Sporting, or Porto. They capitalize on those type of things. Like a Nwanieri from Arsenal. They're very good at prospecting because, as you said, they're educated in the sport, not just like off of whatever the value of a certain player is after the fact. Because usually,
Yeah.
like, I'll see on eBay, 'cause I'm not really on Card Hobby, but I'll see on eBay as soon as like Due started popping off, all those Asian eBay sellers out of nowhere, Dues were flying left, right, center.
yeah, and they tend to hold the cards longer, I think, too.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Like I've found some really good deals on there before because I prospect too. So I can Samu's a perfect example, even though he got hurt today.
Oh my God, that pissed me off. I bet on
I
him
don't-
to score.
I don't know if it's just I heard it was just a muscle injury, but we'll see.
It looks like he tweaked his quad. He went for
Yeah.
a sprint and he bent his leg too far back and it probably like just sprained his upper quad.
Yeah, hope he's okay. But like
He was crying after.
Yeah, I got his stuff so cheap last summer.
Yeah.
But now that's not available. But all right, let's go to the next slide. Let's move on. All right, so here's the demographic, the kind of the breakdown in a graphical form for you guys. So as you see, the 35 to 44 almost covering, and the 25 to 34 kind of almost 45, just almost over 50%. The takeaway here is that it attracts a mature audience, primarily aged 25 to 44 with significant experience, mostly from the USA. That's kind of what we already talked about a little bit. Preferred card types. All right. So number one is rookie cards. 87% of collectors picked rookie cards as their preferred card type. Second was the autograph cards. 80% of collectors picked autograph cards as a preferred card type. Third, there was the parallels, which I was kind of shocked by that. with 75% of collectors picking parallels as their third preferred type of card. The others included RPAs at 55%, relics at 50%, and base cards at 35%. So what shocked me here was that the RPA was not higher on this. And I think, again, and I'll ask you guys your thoughts on this, but I think, again, it has to do with the immaturity of the soccer hobby as compared to the other sports. You look at, you know, football, baseball, hockey, really the RPAs in hockey, because their Upper Deck does an incredible job with their designs. Museum is often overlooked. And then you have Panini that uses not everything's game used, which is terrible. And I know that, you know, with certain products from Upper Deck, that's a situation. The SP game used, for example, the hockey release, not everything's game used. They have manufactured patches in there. Sam, what did you think about this? You did the survey. Did this surprise you at all? I mean, I wasn't surprised with rookie cards and autographs being 1 and 2, but I would have thought RPAs would come in 3. But
I think I personally would rather have an RPA than a parallel, because a parallel's like, oh, it's a number now, especially with you have like stuff numbered to 350 and just so many like different like non-numbered parallels. I'm like, I'd rather have an RPA than that personally, just because it's, you know, just shorter printed, whatnot. But yeah, like I'm not surprised that, you know, rookie cards are number 1, autographs number 2. But yeah, me personally, I like relic cards. I'm just like, if they're not like game used or player worn, I'm like, I don't give a crap. I don't want it.
yeah, I was surprised by the relics. I actually don't really care about if the relic doesn't have an autograph matching with it. I don't care about it.
Fair.
Cesar, what do you think?
I think it's pretty fair. Like I feel like the relic cards, the ones that aren't game used, just kind of like ruin it for what it potentially could be. Like I don't know, but I think the rookie cards, obviously, like no questions asked there. The autos too. I just wish, like you said, that these other brands kind of follow Upper Deck style with the on-card autos, because obviously you're going to find less of them and it'll make them more valuable. But the parallels are cool. Like you guys said, like now the numbering starting to get ridiculous, and they changed the numberings after years. Like I know like tie dyes used to be like out of 99 and out of 50 then out of 30. Like, there's no consistency really.
Yeah. It kind of takes away how special something is, right? That's how I look at it. And for me, like, you know, again, you know, just a relic. And I'll give you an example. I pulled Vita breaks. I was in a Benfica Immaculate break months ago, and it might have been last fall. I think that's when that product came out. But he pulled a 1 of 1 for me for Koksu from Benfica. Okay. So it had the Benfica badge. Really nice card. You know what the problem with it was? The back, not game used. So it's basically
and it was from where?
Benfica Immaculate.
No. Oh, Immaculate. Okay.
It was a 1 of 1.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, how do you release a card like that that's a 1 of 1 and not have a game used pack?
Well, that's just like the Vitinha 1 of 1 I got from Donruss, and it's not game used. It's a nice patch, but I'm like, why am I gonna keep this? I'm just gonna grade it and sell it.
Yeah, it just loses its luster.
Like I'd rather have like the João Neves that you had, the out of 3. That's you know, authenticated, and it's an auto, not on card, but it's still like, you know.
Yeah, and it's game used, so it's just I don't understand it, because there are some cards that like Neves has some stuff in that product.
I don't know if it's because in soccer it's a lot harder to paint a game used jersey.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
As opposed to other sports, like I don't know if other sports like they're just more readily available.
I mean, Topps is doing it though now, because they, you know, that PSG exhibition set that just came out. You know, those are all game used.
And they have the specific game.
They have the specific game on the back. Yeah, because I showed you that Neves that I got. That's another thing. You go on Whatnot. You get here's an example. On eBay, a Neves, just the auto of that same gold card, sold I think for 170 this weekend. And Sam, I got a Neves game used patch of 50, same numbering, patch auto, 3-color patch for under $100.
Yeah, that was a nice.
Like, Whatnot, people think Whatnot is the best place to sell. I don't think so. I think Whatnot is a good place to sell your $1 to $20 cards, stuff you want to get rid of. You know what I mean? But you know, I don't.
It depends on the community you have, right? Like you have to have a good community of like big spenders. There, you can put like decent valued cards and actually make a profit. Because otherwise, like I think it's a good place to buy cards cheaper
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
uncomp.
Because they don't see as
Right.
many eyes, right? eBay is where all the eyes are.
Yeah, exactly.
Sam, what do you think about that? I know you go on Whatnot once in a while.
I mean, I think for me, more so like Solana, whatnot, like every now and then, sure, turn a profit. Sometimes I'm just like, all right, I just need to get rid of stuff. So, just kind of hang out. Like for me, it's like just kind of a spot to hang out and just shoot the shit with people. Sometimes I have stuff people want. I mean, at some point I need to just try and clear house because I've got way too much on my debt here.
Way too much inventory.
Yeah, no, it's like for me, it's good. I go on there, like, and I'll probably do something soon again. But I have a lot of numbered stuff that I don't really care about. You know what I mean? I'll start them at
Yeah.
$1, and whatever they sell for, they sell for. I don't care.
That's why I can sign with ADOT because he has a decent community with like hundreds of people tuning into his lives.
Mm,
I don't have to make a whatnot and promote it. Like he just
Yeah.
posts it, and then whatever big cards he puts on pre-bids, I'll just post on my story for whoever's interested. And it's like the day of the auction that he does, I get paid out instantly. I don't have to wait on eBay for 30 days to get paid and like get the fees. Like he takes his fee, he sends it out, he does all the work, put a bunch of shit in a box, and then he deals with it after.
Yeah, there's two other really good consigners that I've worked with in the past, DC Sports 87 and also PC Sports Cards. Those guys they're both really good. You just send them your stuff and they pay you on it based on the chart, based on the value of what the card sells for. They'll pay you 85, 90%, whatever it is, right? And they take their
Yeah.
cut. They obviously have exclusive agreements with eBay. Sometimes it's better off that way, right? I've never done anything with ADOT, but I do
He's
understand.
good to sell like your bulk stuff because it's just quick. You might not get the price you want for certain
Yeah.
things, but just to move like a bunch of stuff fast,
Yeah.
it's the best way, especially if you want to buy into something better. Then he also grades for you too. So I had him some Nuno Mendes stuff. He assessed it. He said they probably wouldn't come back 10. So I was like, okay, fuck it. Just put it on the
send 'em
auction
in.
as well.
Yeah, PC Sports Cards does that too. You send your cards into grade, and they ultimately foot the bill for you. And when they
Yeah.
come back from PSA, they'll list them for you if you want. So
Yeah,
if you send in
exactly.
20 cards, they'll list them for you. They'll list 10 for you, and take the money off of what you owe. You know what I mean, for the cards that you graded.
Yeah.
So
The
it's
only
kind
thing
of
with sorry, go.
it's an interesting business model. It just makes it really convenient.
Yeah, exactly. See, like if I was in the States, I'd probably be like purchasing more from
Mhm.
whatnot and stuff because you do find a lot of good deals. The only problem with me being in Canada is that
Yeah.
the duties and the customs kill us.
Yeah, it's
Like
terrible.
after Trump implemented those tariffs, like dude, like I entered a couple breaks for Obsidian just to like, just to see what I could get, what nice products. But like I had to pay like an extra $100 on tariffs. So I was like, yeah, no more whatnot breaks, no more nothing. Just
You got to talk to Brandon Almeida. He has a box in Buffalo.
yeah, or I'll talk to you instead.
Yeah, you could just ship them here, and then when we see each other, you give them to you. I actually do that for a few people in Portugal. Shout out to those guys, Gilles and Daniel Ricardo.
Yeah.
Those guys, they have stuff shipped here, and then when I go to Portugal, I bring them with me, and we meet up and have a beer and hang out.
Beautiful.
Because they don't have to pay duties that way. Because Portugal's ridiculous too. Like I sent my mother when my son was born. We sent her two frame pictures, my parents, of the kid.
Yeah.
And they tried to charge her duties for the damn frames. It's just
Yeah,
they're pictures of kids.
It's ridiculous. Well, it's like look what happened with Ricky who did the Nuno Gomes stuff. Like Nuno Gomes had to pay to send those cards back to him.
Yeah, I know,
out of
it's
his own
wild.
pocket.
Yeah, he did mention that on the podcast, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So there they are. There's kind of your bar graph of rookie cards, like I said, autographs, parallels, RPAs, relics, base cards, kind of in a graph form for you guys to see. Rookie cards and autographs obviously dominate the hobby, and base cards are at least prioritized. But as I said, base cards are relevant when they need to be. Favorite product or sets. Now this is interesting.
There's a base card that matters.
I wasn't that surprised by this. And these are not the years, but I just put up samples of the cards. Topps Chrome being number 1, 30%. Select being number 2. I was actually surprised by that. I would have thought Prism would be number 2. And then Prism was 3. And then the others were Topps Sapphire 10%. Others included Merlin, Donruss Optic, Flawless, etc. 23%. So
Damn.
I don't know. I was surprised to see Select here at number 2. I think part of this is probably because the Select, the older stuff, Sam, I know you've been kind of gravitating towards some of that stuff lately, and you can talk a little bit about that. But I think part of it is because of exactly that reason, is the past that you're finding from the old Select stuff. Like Chrome doesn't surprise me, but I would have thought this margin would have been a little bit bigger, 30 and 22%, and then Prism 15%. Let's face it, Prism, EPL Prism, nobody buys it, I don't think, unless you're a true collector of a certain EPL team. But people buy the World Cup Prism, obviously. But I would have thought Chrome would have been higher. And I think part for me this past year, I didn't like the Chrome design very much. I think it was kind of busy.
I don't think the design's been good since probably 18, 19. Like that's the last year that I'm like, this actually looks good. But then again, I think I'm somebody that just likes a basic card. I don't need flashy stuff.
I think Stadium Club Chrome, is that considered Topps Chrome as well, or is that like different?
No, that's a separate category. That
Okay.
was in the other section, and I didn't break that out. I could have broken it out more, but I didn't. And yeah, I love Stadium Club Chrome. I love the way it looks.
Yeah, it's a lot more simple and like player focused. Like these ones this year with like the names at the top are like kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just found it like they look nice, but I just found they're a little strange.
And I was kind of surprised too with the amount of people that love Merlin, that Merlin was that far down. I don't know. To me, it was interesting. And I think I did another graph here where we can actually look at these a little bit more. Actually, this is the ranking. Same thing, right? Chrome was number 1. I did 1 as best instead of the 10. I used so to make sure people were engaged in this. Yeah, but Merlin was 5th. And the amount of people that love Merlin, I was kind of surprised it wasn't higher. I guess for me, Select was really the surprise here, coming in kind of second behind Chrome, and not a very big gap. Only 8 percentage points or eight people voted a little higher on Chrome. Sam, talk to me about Select, why you think this may have happened, because I know you've been kind of gravitating towards that set more. And I don't remember, I'd have to look back at your responses to see what you said here.
If I had to guess, I think I probably said, ooh, man, that's actually a good question. I think if I were to gravitate to it right now, I'd probably say I think my favorite set personally is probably the World Cup 2014. Just the cards, just simple, basic.
Oh, we'll go into that. We'll go into the exact sets that were, but I kind of want to know, I guess I'm asking you, why have you, like, I know you've shown me some stuff that you've bought and some older Select stuff. What's your thinking behind that?
I mean, I think this stuff's just going to be harder to come across. Ronaldo out of 149. Like, it's going to be harder to come across this stuff. I like to buy players that, had a fun impact, or like, I enjoyed watching, like, here's like a Mueller. Like for me, it's just like, I think anything first year tends to be what people like if it's something that continues to be created. So like for me, it's just like, all right, I'm gonna go buy some some of the better players. I mean, here we go. Here's James Rodriguez, like, just, and I think it's also like I said, also has a smaller print run, like a print run. Like they don't have like the smaller print run, don't have 8 million different parallels. I just think to me, it's just, it's just an iconic set. And, you can find players that, we're watching 10, 15 years ago and they aren't really making cards of them anymore for some of them.
Yeah, it's also why soccer was so like fun to watch when you had like Ronaldo in his prime, and Mbappe just kind of breaking out, Messi in his prime, and like the legends kind of fading off.
Right.
Whereas now it's very like rookie focused. Like, okay, who's next? Ronaldo and Messi are kind of like at the tail end of their careers, right?
Yeah, that's kind of like how, who, I think everyone's looking for the next guys, and it's kind of like, I hate to tell you guys, but I don't think there are any next guys. You know what I mean? This is kind of once in a lifetime that this happened.
It's going to be so hard to like get to where Ronaldo and Messi like levels. Like, everyone's banking that. Like, Mbappe kind of has it, but not really. Haaland with Norway, I don't think he'll ever be able to internationally. And then Yamal's like the saving grace, essentially.
Yeah. I agree. So, Sam, your actually number 1 choice for favorite brand or set was Sapphire.
Really weird. I think I'm changing my mind. What else?
I looked at.
Redo it.
Yeah, well, you'll have your chance. I'm gonna do this every year. I think this is interesting. I think this is kind of will give everybody kind of a, I guess, insight into maybe what I should be buying. If it, necessarily like what's going to be in demand, right? Things
Right.
change too over time. Things do change. New trends pop up. All right, this is a good one. Top 5 greatest sets. Number 1, 2014 Panini Prism. No surprise there. 2017 Topps Chrome. No surprise there. I was surprised by this again. Select
Yes.
pops up a year again. 2015, 2016. And I believe that was the first year the Select was issued. That card there specifically, I think, is a beautiful card. You rarely see Ronaldo in the white Portugal kit. So I think that's a really cool card. And then I was kind of surprised to see Mega Cracks on this list too. 2004-05. And it's probably because of the Messi rookies. And this is before the Messi resurgence started on the rookie cards. The people that did this survey are ahead of the curve. Many of you guys were ahead of the curve in terms of that. And then lastly, Merlin shows up here too, 2020, and that's because of that rookie class. Pedri, Jude, Eddie Emmy's in there. Gonzalo Ramos is his only rookie card. Osimhen's got a rookie card in that as well. It's his only rookie card. Cesar, you're relatively new to the hobby, so what did you think of this? How this popped out? These 5 greatest sets.
I mean, it looked pretty standard. I am kind of surprised to see the mega cracks in there, but I guess just because Messi carries that. And all those was the year before, right? His was just the Portuguese exclusive.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, I guess that's why there's no one else really relevant, I think, from that year. That's that. So Messi kind of carries that.
Well, there's other cards in that set though. There's like the Ronaldinho cards. There's Zidane cards, and there's Figo cards. There's
So like the Prism 2014, like I've been seeing a lot of recently, especially like that Ronaldo Messi one
mhm.
that people have been posting a lot of lately. It's like I wish I could get into those cards, but like I think they're kind of expensive. Ronaldo's still relatively like affordable compared to Messi, but yeah, it looks pretty good to me.
Sam, what did you think? Does this surprise you? Is this kind of like in line with what you thought you'd probably see?
I definitely am not surprised. I think also like you look at it and the first 3, and then like I'm sure Mega Cracks probably had stuff older than that. I don't know for certain, but like
They do.
3, and then you have like the 2020. That's all first year of that set. So that's the first year 2014, first year 27, or first year Chrome, first year Select. And I think obviously Merlin's been discontinued this year. I do know they did do a women's Euro release, which will be interesting to see how that does. I have a few friends that are really, really into the women's collecting women's soccer. I've got a few, but don't have a ton. But it's like four of those 5 are all first year of stuff that they did for a number of years. Some of them, obviously, they're still doing, some aren't. So like, I'm not entirely surprised that they are the top greatest set. And I mean, it's kind of what I collect. So.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that like I didn't do the survey because I don't want to skew things, but I'm surprised a little bit that nobody included 2018 World Cup Prism. Because of the significance of that World Cup with Mbappe winning the World Cup, right? And it's his rookie. Well, it's one of his rookies, right? You got the rookie sticker. Shout out to Croatian footy collector who wants to always fight about the sticker and the card. But I was kind of surprised by that because I probably would have gone with those first 3 there. And I probably would have thrown that number 4, that Prism set. And then the 5th, I was probably okay with that Merlin being there too. Since it is his first year. But I think the Merlin brand, what I think separated it back then, is that you had players that only had rookie cards in that product. And I think Topps made a mistake in throwing everybody into every set.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know Jude's got cards across different products, but the Victor Osimhen's, the Gonzalo Ramos of the world. Who else? Caliafori, which is the Arsenal player. He's got a rookie in there. People forget about that. Guys that didn't have other cards. And I think that was one of the things that really attracted me to Merlin early on was like Turkey too, right?
Yeah.
Sam, he had a rookie. Well, that didn't have the RC logo, but we all know it's his rookie card. And I think that's what was one of the things that was kind of that really attracted me to Merlin. I think attracted a lot of people. And I think I've seen that kind of set regress a little bit. I thought last year the gamers cards were really cool, and I think those cards in the future are going to be very relevant. Maybe not in 4 years, but I think 10 years from now, I think people are going to want those cards.
Is that
You
like the
just
Yu-Gi-Oh looking card?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
those
think
are
those cards
cool.
are really cool. And I had a Due, and it was a numbered one. It was numbered to 75, I think. But the prices were so high on his stuff at that point. I was like, I have to let this go. And I didn't want to. And I had a few of those, but like, I think I can rebuy those. And I probably should have looked for those. I'll probably look for those going forward now to try to pick them up. Cause I think they weren't easy to pull either. And I'm pretty sure they only came out of retail blasters. They didn't come out of hobby at all. So I think there's kind of that aspect to it. It's kind of, they're not as limited as the Upper Deck last year did a living set, or 2 years ago now. But those inserts, and I forget the name of it because I bought a few of them. I bought a Crosby, I bought a Bedard, I bought a Kirill, a Jack Hughes. Yeah. I bought a few of those because they were like one in like 2.5 cases. They were really limited. And they came out of regular flagship Upper Deck. And the thing about it, it's a living set, meaning that they'll never make another insert like that again, which I think is what Panini should have done with Kabooms. Is once you have a Kaboom, you don't make another one of that player ever again, because then you it's kind of artificial scarcity, right? But I don't know, like, we can move on to the next slide, but this was interesting, obviously, to see this. And I'm not trying to knock Merlin, but I think Merlin, the product's gone down a little bit, I think, in my eyes, as compared to the other. So this is no surprise. Here are your most iconic players. 85% chose Messi, Ronaldo's 80%, Mbappe at 40%, Jude Bellingham at 25%, and Haaland was the other at 15%.
Wow.
This is interesting because for me, I would have thought this gap would have been bigger, and it wasn't.
What, probably a few votes, probably something like that.
Yeah, and
I think your demographic is a little biased to Ronaldo.
It probably is. You're probably right. And we didn't have all Portuguese people complete the survey, but if this is a measure of the card values, they're nowhere near each other, right? I think Ronaldo's catching up a little bit, and it's going to if he wins a World Cup next year, it's over. The discussion's over, and you guys can comment in the comments later and tell me I'm wrong. But if Ronaldo wins a World Cup next year, the discussion's over. Ronaldo's the best of this generation. I'm not saying all time.
To see Jude there.
I was too, a little bit. I would have thought Haaland would have been there.
I think Jude's hype initially is probably what brings him here, but damn.
Yeah, and this survey was like, I closed it at the end of May, so it wasn't like he was having a spectacular last season. He wasn't spectacular last season. You know what I mean? But I think this again, it goes back to what do they do on the field? What do they do off the field? And I think people really like what he is off the field as well. That's a big part of it. And I think Haaland, while he's an excellent player, don't necessarily think he's probably the best, let's say, interviewer, or he doesn't show like what a Ronaldo shows or a Messi. You know what I mean?
He's
or even
funny.
He is funny, but I think they don't play on that enough, or he doesn't play on that. I don't know what it is.
No, he's like a little bit more subdued Zlatan.
Yeah, you're right. And I think if he was more like Zlatan, you probably see him maybe at number 3. Because Mbappe, I think what propels him up here is obviously his talent and the ability to score goals. And I think they play tomorrow too, so it'll be interesting to see how he starts the season off.
Well, it's also like his accolades too, right? The World Cup when he was 18, 19, whatever it was.
Because I honestly think Mbappe's the one that's the closest to being able to be like these guys. You know what I mean? Because he's already got a World Cup. He needs a Champions League. It didn't look good when he leaves PSG and they win the Champions League, but it kind of, and it's funny because I clipped something from last year that I had sent John, JB Collects, on Sunday League Investors. I think I sent him that message back in September of last year. I told him that PSG was building something special and that without the distraction of Mbappe, they probably were going to win the Champions League. So I wasn't far off. I was relatively close to exactly what happened. Well, I was actually spot on, but I expect him to have he had a great year last year too. I think he broke the record for most goals for a first season at Real Madrid.
He had a great season. I just feel all the Clásicos that they lost kind of pushed him under the rug a bit, like from his personal achievements.
Yeah.
Like, they
I
didn't win
agree.
anything, right? And Barca like
No.
destroyed them every game, and they played like
Yep.
what, Clásicos last season?
Yeah. And they weren't even close. They were beatings.
Yeah, like straight up beating.
Yeah. Sam, what about you? What do you think about this list? Pretty spot on, or are you surprised by anything?
I'm definitely curious. Like, would sort of start to think that maybe Yamal might have made the list, but again, that was like into like might have gotten votes and been maybe considered there. I think Jude is definitely riding that wave of whatever. He's like his prices have gone down quite a bit. One thing I'll say about Erling Haaland, because I'm a Norwegian American. There's been a lot of times where he has not been hurt and has not showed up and played for the Norwegian national team, though he is the leading scorer like overall for them. So like I feel like at times like he doesn't have like whereas Odegaard's always there and captains that team. I feel like, what's missing to me for him in Norway is he doesn't always show up. He sometimes doesn't seem like he really cares.
Yeah,
Well,
and
sorry.
go ahead.
I just wanted to say I expect Norway to have a big World Cup debut next year because the players emerging now with Nusa and Oscar Bob. Like I saw Oscar Bob play this weekend for City. Dude, that kid's a baller. Defensively, I'm not sure who they have up and coming. Norway's looking good, and that league is also like I've been
Don't
following Bodo Glimt since they were in the Norwegian second division, all the
don't
way up
for,
to like their dominance in the Norway first division, and going all the way to the semis of Europa League last year.
yeah,
So I
I
feel like
think
Norway will do something
what
critical.
yeah, and one of the things that it's interesting about soccer for me when I look at things, right? You look at all the major sports, right? And soccer is one of the only ones where the national teams mean a lot. And I think hockey's a close second too, as compared to the other sports. Like no one cares about baseball, like national teams um, or football. NFL doesn't even have one. Basketball it's like the world's catching up to the U.S. It was been kind of boring for like 40 years, right? It's been boring. So soccer is kind of one of those that is different as compared to the others. Oh yeah, and the other guy you forgot about, Cesar or Norway, is a kid at Benfica. Andreas Slurstrup. Yeah.
Another slump, yeah.
Yeah, he's playing well. So we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, no, I mean, I was kind of surprised by not seeing Holland a little bit higher, but it is what it is. And just so you guys know, people were allowed to select up to 3 players. So you were limited to 3 players. So, it probably was really difficult for people when they did this. And they're like, oh man, I got to include Messi and Ronaldo. And then I got to find a third guy. Who's it going to be? And then there's probably people that hate Ronaldo. There's probably people that hate Messi and voted, these 3, for example. But I didn't dig that deep to find out who did that. I mean, eventually I could look at that.
I feel like if you were to do this survey like today, I think Yamal trumps even Mbappe.
But yeah, at this
Probably
point,
third.
yeah, he had such an impact on the hobby at this point. And I
Yeah.
would have thought, like Sam, like you said that, you would have thought that Lamine might have been up there because he had won the Euros last year. And I think people forgot about that. I think people forgot he won the Euros. And maybe that was the case and people didn't realize how good he was. I knew he was good. I just don't like Barcelona, so I don't ever root for them. But that's on me. So, all right. So next one, top 5 greatest modern cards. Listen, number 1 and 2, don't surprise me. Again, very narrow, 10 votes, right? Number 3 was the Messi gold or black was one of the ones they voted. I couldn't find a picture of the superfractor because no one's actually pulled it. I know there's been kind of mock-ups out there, but been 12 votes for that. The Mbappe Prism rookie, so he shows up twice on this list. I was not surprised by that, and that this is just the base, right? So you have three of the 5 cards are base cards when you look at it. Obviously, these are more limited base cards, which is why base is relevant. This didn't surprise me either. Sam, like you said earlier, first year Prism, gold, it just pops right. And then the iconic, obviously the first year Chrome tops with Mbappe having his rookie in there is significant. This one kind of surprised me a little bit. I would have thought maybe we would have seen, I don't know what we would have seen here. If it was going to be a Jude card, or if it was going to be maybe a 2014 Ronaldo card, gold as well. I don't know. Quick thoughts on this, guys. What do you guys think about this?
It's interesting that it's all base cards and there's no like autos or
Right.
RPAs. Like the Messi Ronaldo, yeah, definitely up there for sure. And that third Messi, okay. That's not 2022, right? I feel like I'm surprised to not see like a Qatar Messi in there.
Me too.
Like even like his landmarks, like those, I don't know when landmarks were introduced, but like those cards are like gorgeous to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, even the on demand one, right, where he's got the World Cup trophy in his hands.
Yeah,
That card sells pretty well, and it's printed to the moon, obviously. But
that's the issue with those, unfortunately.
well, some of them, right? Like I
They
have
bank
the
they overprint them because they know people are gonna like buy those
Yeah.
right away.
yeah, like I bought the Portugal one in 2016, and I have it, but it's only a PSA 8 because I was buying those cards back then, but like I didn't really care. I put them in a top loader, throw them around, whatever, and just got a PSA 8. But I love the card because it's
Yeah,
Ronaldo's first big, international
You don't
trophy.
really see those cards though. Like I feel like once people buy them up, they kind of don't hit circulation. So like people like
Yep.
buy them for the moment for that reason, and then they just stash it in there.
yeah, you never hear about them again.
Yeah.
Like I bought a few of those Ronaldo Aluminium cards. I bought 3 of them. The
Oh,
tops
the tops
now.
now?
Yeah, I bought 3 of them, and I'm gonna grade them. I'll keep one or maybe keep 2 and sell one. And I bought the Portugal one. I bought the Ronaldo one with the trophy because I think those are just, yeah. Granted, I can get any numbered ones, which I wanted, but I'm okay with having those. But the scissor, like the ones from 2016 when they won the Euro, those were so low printed, man.
I
I
don't see
think
any of those. I've been looking for those 2016 Euro ones and I can't find anything anywhere.
no, you can't. It's just like they're just like. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna see if I still have it.
Yeah, give me a look.
Because it's just one of those cards. It's not, and it may be as high a grade as it. Here it is. Yeah, PS. But you can't see it, can you?
Are you using a green screen? I just realized.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm using a green screen. You can't
I think
really
you have to
see
put it
it.
like right in front of you. No, I guess.
See it?
A little bit.
It's that.
Post it on
They're
your
all.
story after.
Yeah, I'll put it on my stories later. But this, and on the back, only 229 of these were printed.
Only 229. It's not
Yep.
numbered or anything.
Not numbered.
How did you find this? Did you ask ChatGPT?
No, I bought this like in 20. I bought it in 2016
But how do you know the print run on it?
because it tells you on the back.
Shit.
Yeah, it tells you on the back. And like, I'm going to scan it. I'm going to look at the pop count on this card because now I'm curious. Because in some ways, I think, these cards, I think are, why is this shit not working? Oh, so, I don't mean to swear, but
I probably
I'm going to say the pop count's obviously less than 229 because there's only 229 printed. And they did have parallels, but they weren't. I think they were just limited to like green and red. Yeah, population's 4 on this dude. Excuse me, 8. Population's 8 on this card. There's 4 PSA 10s, 4 PSA 9s, and 4 PSA 8s. There's 12 graded total. So, this is, people might look at it and say it's a PSA 8, but listen, there's only 12 of them graded, you know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things that, actually, yeah, maybe I'll post this
Well,
card
these
tonight.
cards, I feel like they're eventually going to get to a point where, like, for example, the Gretzky rookies or Jordan rookies or
Yep.
whatever the significant cards of theirs, the grade isn't going to matter too much. Obviously, like, the higher ones will ask for a lot more, but the lower ones, people are just going to be happy to have them, right?
Yep.
Like,
I agree.
we're still, like, to me, we're still early. Like, once Ronaldo and Messi retire, like, and it's been, like, 10 to 20 years past their retirement, like, these cards are going to be ridiculous. If the hobby's still, like, alive and well, which I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, I think so too. So, I mean, this list, I guess for me, the big surprise was the last one, it being a base card, right? I mean, the other ones are the Ronaldo and Messi rookies. Those are base cards, but they're extremely hard to come by.
Yeah.
People didn't care. They throw cards wherever they were. You know what I mean? It's just, people didn't take care. Like I had cards from the 2018 Prism that I didn't take care of. They were just stacked. When I was still living in Boston, they were stacked in a closet in a shoebox. And I had so much stuff in there. And then when COVID hit, I looked through them and I was like, holy crap, I got all this stuff.
Time to put them in penny sleeves and top load.
Yeah, top load and sell them,
Yeah. I know a guy here locally, like he sells on a local like app here called Kijiji.
Mm-hmm.
And I met up with him once at his place, and this guy had like the entire 2006 World Cup set, multiple Ronaldo and Messi World Cup from the 2006 in like those screw down cases.
Yeah.
In, like pristine condition. He had a 2004 Euro, the whole set. And then I've never seen a card from that set, to be honest.
You-
Then he had these cards too, like a bunch of these ones, but like he's not selling. They're all like in a vault.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
It reminds me of when my dad in the 80s, he unfortunately had to make a lot of trips to Portugal. He had a lot of, well, not unfortunately, but well, yeah, it is unfortunate. He had a lot of, his dad died. He had 2 brothers die. He had a sister die. And every time he went, he'd always bring me back an album. And I'll never forget this. I had a 1982 sticker album, the World Cup, with the whole thing filled.
Who won it that year? Argentina? Italy?
No, 82 was, who was 82? Argentina won in 86.
Maybe Italy, Brazil.
But the Maradona rookie was in there.
Ooh, you have that?
It was, I don't have the album. I don't know what the hell I did with it.
Don't you hate when that happens? When you
Yeah,
had,
it's like you throw shit out and like you just forget about it. Yeah, yeah. It's just,
like I had
you know,
Pokemon cards like crazy from when I was younger. Then I probably just like tossed them all in the trash one day when I was like in high school.
you're like, this is
All of my
stupid.
little sister.
I'm like, this is a joke. This is for kids.
Yeah,
It could have been sitting on like a retirement fund.
you never know. You never know. Oh yeah, Italy won the World Cup that year. I think it was in Spain
Okay.
too. That's why I remember that. Yeah, Italy won that World Cup, but just it brings me back to like, man, if I still had that damn thing. But like you know, in some of those sticker books, I've gotten a few messages a few times before where people are like, should I take the sticker out of the book, cut it out, and like try to? I'm like, you can try, but I wouldn't even do that at this point. Like, just
Yeah, because if you
leave
were
it.
to grade it, it would be like altered. Authentic.
Yeah, I mean, if the sticker's really rare, it's probably worth it. But I mean, I don't know. You kind of move on for that.
You know what
so.
I'm not? You know what I'm kind of surprised by not seeing on this list is Maradona stuff.
Well, I only wanted to do modern cards. That's why.
Oh, the modern cards, right?
Yeah, I wanted to cover modern cards. I think eventually what I'll do with this year's survey, I'll probably ask the question.
Do
And
like a vintage section.
yeah, I would imagine that Pele will be number 1. You know, Pele, Maradona, Eusebio rookie cards, or Eusebio one's a kind of a really nice
But even
one.
like my generation of collectors, like I don't care about Pele or Maradona, to be honest. And, like even like people I talk to that collect other sports, like nobody cares about Mickey Mantle except for like the older guys that like
Yeah.
grew up. Like that's why I don't know if that value is gonna hold. Like maybe once the hobby, the newcomers mature and realize like what it's the significance of it. Maybe I know Pele and Maradona already passed away. Like I don't really-
They'll probably still continue to. I think stuff will be treated just like the baseball cards are treated, where they gradually increase. You don't see like any tremendous shifts up and down. It's more
Yeah.
of a gradual increase. You won't see. I agree with you there. I think the Pele stuff will, and there's probably other Pele rookies out there that have never been graded. They're somewhere.
They're somewhere in Brazil,
Somewhere in Brazil, go down there and try to hunt them down. I don't know, but I think that's what's going to happen. And you're right. I think, and I've talked about this before, where kids that are coming up now, growing up, if Mbappe's the guy, if Holland's the guy, if Jude's the guy, what are their rookie cards going to be worth in 10 years from now? You know what I mean? If they continue to be successful, that's the that's kind of the question. So most collected,
I got like 6 more minutes till 10:30.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Greatest single card specific selection: Mini Mega Cracks, 71Bs. I see 25%. 15% was the 2014 Prism World Cup Messi Gold. Others were Ronaldo Mega Cracks, Mbappe Prism, etc. 60% was the comprised the other list. Messi and Ronaldo again continue to dominate the hobby, with their early Mega Cracks and Prism cards are highly coveted still. So that's kind of a summary there. And you see the same guy showing up on this list here. Qualities of a great soccer card. Now, this is interesting. Autographs, 70% of people rated that extremely important. Relics, 40% rated somewhat important. Inserts, 35% rated somewhat important. This was interesting to me. That only 35% thought inserts were somewhat important. Yet the kabooms and some of those other short print, and I think the kabooms are the only ones. The other short print stuff, I don't think it does anything. I don't think they do anything. To me, they don't. Like those visionary, they're nice cards, but they're like not kabooms.
Right.
Kind of. I was surprised by this. We've already talked about the relics and the autographs, so that's no surprise. Insert wise, I think we can agree kabooms are kind of it. I don't know
it's
any
kabooms and color blast.
Color blast, yeah, out of Obsidian, right? Those come out of
Yeah.
Obsidian. Oh, and they come out of EPL Prism too, I think, too, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. I've never owned one. I don't think they're okay, but I don't love them. I mean, certain people do.
I like them. They're cool.
Yeah, so that surprised me a little bit.
I think it's because those cards have more significance than, like, for example, football kabooms and basketball kabooms. People are obsessed with those. Same thing with the color blast. People that want to collect soccer, like, okay, I'm looking for like soccer kabooms or color blast. Do those exist? Okay, yeah, let me buy those.
Yep. And then I asked for them to rank, for people to rank qualities ranked. And this was an open-ended question, top factors. Number one was player performance and legacy. So obviously you think about Ronaldo and Messi, their performances, their legacy, right? Number two was rarity. I would have thought that card rarity probably would have been number one. Historical significance, e.g. rookie card of World Cup. For example, those 2006 World Cup cards of Messi and Ronaldo. And I think, Cesar, we've talked about that and how we think those are undervalued a bit. And then number four, design and aesthetics. Anything here that you guys see? For me, the takeaway here was obviously you see at the bottom, collectors value player legacy and rarity most, with autographs being critical to card appeal. That was kind of my understanding of this. I was actually surprised that card rarity was not number one.
I think it makes sense. I think it's kind of like an ethical way to look at cards as opposed to card rarity. Otherwise, you just find like the most random players, one of ones, be doing crazy numbers. So I think it's fairly well put together.
Sam, any insight on that, or is he kind of in the same boat?
I think like the thing you could go to is like you might like card rarity being like established players maybe like might be going into like the like where stuff's being printed a lot more now. Like having cards that are to 10, 15, like kind of like lower numbered stuff of like a player that has, you know, more rookies, having something along those lines. So like having a Yamal to 10 or to 15 as opposed to like a Yamal to like 75 or 350.
Yeah, exactly.
What
Like
Yeah,
anything 15 under, I think does really well for like the top players.
Right.
Even
Yeah.
like the mid players, those do the best. But like I feel like card rarity and the player legacy like overlap very well. Like for example, like I was collecting Ronaldo white sparkles, so I flipped the Juve white sparkle to get a Portugal white sparkle, which were super low PSA pops, to get a Ronaldo Panini legendary auto, which is like 120 pop. The card's worth way more. It's a sticker auto, but it's not like the pop count's significantly like 10 times higher, right?
Yep.
So I think player legacy and then like the rarity kind of overlap.
Yeah,
a bit.
for me, I'm just kind of thinking of those, you know, like the treble set, right? If you have the treble set, what 2017, 2018, or 2018-19 treble. If you have any of those guys in any of those colors, any of them, they all sell for good money, no matter who it is, because that set is, I think Gold Standard is a better card, but again,
I wish I got into this a little bit earlier.
yeah,
well.
that's stuff I would have bought up too, and I didn't. but-
Anyways, guys, I gotta head out. I appreciate your time and what you're doing for the hobby, especially the soccer hobby, is incredible, and no one else is doing it.
All
Thanks
right, man.
for having me. Talk to you soon, all right, guys?
Yeah, all
Take
right,
care.
dude. I know you're busy. See you later.
See you, man.
Take care.
All right, Sam. We're still going, so hopefully you still got time.
I got time.
Next, I wanted to look at undervalued modern players. These are the four guys that popped up on the list. Again, you look at this stuff and you're like, wait a second. 3 of these 4 guys are clearly new in products in the last 2 years, right? Neves, Gyökeres, Kini Yildiz, and then lastly, we had Pulisic. I do believe Pulisic is undervalued as well. I think he's an excellent player, one of the best players in Serie A right now. But I was surprised to see these guys on here, you know. You have one really good goal scorer. You have a guy that doesn't score a lot of goals. You have Yildiz, who could be an explosive goal scorer. Probably won't ever score more than 15 goals a year, but that kind of surprised me a little bit in terms of undervalued modern players. It was nice to see Neves on the list because I'm a Neves fan, obviously. And
Also,
again, I didn't vote.
You when did you start doing it again? It was like
This started January through May.
January through May. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
obviously at that point in time, Neves had not won the Champions League.
Nope.
Gyökeres, he obviously was banging in goals, but it's like, you know, I think now price wise and whatnot, I don't know if they're necessarily undervalued. I think their values have gone up.
Yeah. And even Neves, I noticed with Neves, his stuff in Asia sells for a lot more money than it does here on eBay or on whatnot. It really does. Even Yildiz too. Kini Yildiz does too. And I think Pulisic also in Asia sells very well, significantly higher. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's the case. But again, it goes back to our argument of, I think those people over there know the game a little bit better than some of us do. I'm not saying everybody, but some of us. I asked another question, undervalued legends. Zidane, Luka, and
Louis.
Lewandowski. Two of these guys have not retired yet. Luka Modric, who Croatian football collector will be happy to see him on the list, obviously. That's a beautiful card there that I picked out to put in here, the purple.
Here it is, right?
Yep. And oh yeah, you have one of those, don't you? And then the Lewandowski auto, and then the Zidane there. I picked the Stadium Club Chrome gold refractor there. Now, one of the things I'm kind of turned off by, Sam, and you might agree or disagree with me, is like the Lewandowski I like because he's still playing, right? It's
Right.
during his playing days. The Zidane, I actually don't really care about that card. I like Zidane a lot. I think I've said this before, he's probably the best player I've ever watched play, to me, in my eyes. A guy that controlled games without even scoring a goal. But for me, I'd want a card of his where there was an autograph of him while he was playing the game, and there may not be one that's out there. So for me, it becomes kind of the old, well, and I think I've talked about this before, first autos, right? Like I know with Nevs, it was a select stuff. You know, with Ronaldo, it's upper deck, the Manchester United set there, and those command huge numbers. And those are sticker autos too. I think there might be some that are on card, but I'm pretty sure those are sticker autos. So the Lewandowski doesn't bother me, and even a Luka, because he's still playing, getting a card of his with his autograph on card obviously is the best thing. Obviously, I think for me, it's kind of like while he's playing, it's got to be on card and graded, I guess, is what I kind of look at. That's why I don't lean towards many autographs because they don't check those boxes for me. What do you think about that? Like, I think people love pulling, and the breakers will shout to the moon that they pulled an autograph of Rivaldo, and nobody knows Rivaldo, which is unfortunate because he's actually one of the best players I ever saw play too. I think I have him in my probably top 6 or 7 players I've ever seen play. Just a wonderful talent. But if I'm in a break and I pull a Rivaldo auto, I actually might like it because I consider him to be one of the best I ever saw play. But I think it loses its luster because, he's not playing anymore. Right. But again, with baseball, the same thing happens though, right? You get legends that aren't alive or playing anymore. And you look at some of those early 90s baseball sets. You had the Donruss products, you had Upper Deck products. I think they had, I want to say Upper Deck had a Hank Aaron auto. He wasn't playing anymore, but he was still alive. Right. And it was kind of the first time he had done on-card autos. So I guess there's an opinion, right? I mean, what do you think about that?
I think it just, for me, it more so goes to what I collect. For me personally, I like to, I like buying cards that have good eye appeal to me, players that have good moments. I don't necessarily auto wise, I've not gone out and hunted a Zidane. I like Zidane, great player. I remember watching him single-handedly in the Euro 04, taking down England in the last minute and then stoppage time. So, have that fun moment watching it actually live on TV in England. But I'm for me, it's I think there are certain players. I think it would come down to okay, what's their first auto, what's the first thing. But overall, for me, I'm I don't have too much of a effect on it. I would say though, one thing that I'm starting to try to do is if I can find an on-card auto, so here, got the Pulisic on-card, so trying to find that because, I'd say at this point in time, soccer's 99% of the time is a sticker. And I'm sticker's just not cool. I'd rather have it on.
And it's crazy because you start even 4 years ago, right during COVID, where you'd pull an auto, you'd be excited. It's kind of when I pulled that Bellingham Aoki of 25 auto rookie, right? Really excited. But then I'm wait a second, do I really like this card? It's a sticker auto. And I think a lot of us have matured to the point that, we want autos on cards, like
Right.
Upper Deck does with the cup, you know what I mean? And a lot of their products. I know it's more difficult. These companies, the Paninis, the Tops of the world, they got to take, and I think Futera does on card though too, don't they? Or are they sticker? Yeah.
I believe it's on card. I don't really buy a lot of it. The one thing that I will say
I don't either.
Do like about Futera is when you have the patch, it's oh, this came from this game 3-0, whatever. That's one thing I really do like about Futera. They're okay, this is from this game, this is from this match. One thing that I've seen that I'm not a big fan of is there'll be I think it was a Arsenal player, national team, was the card, but the patch was Arsenal patch. It's just that doesn't do it for me when you mix their national team with their club team.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that Topps actually did right with this PSG exhibition set. If you've looked at those cards yet, maybe I'll post the Nevs if it ever gets shipped. But I think it did get shipped, so I'm lucky and happy about that. But the back of it says that the jersey was worn during the Brest game.
Okay.
Against Brest, so it tells the exact game. And I obviously went and looked. I'm like, did he score in that game or did he do anything? He didn't do anything in that game. But it's still cool to know that it came from that game. So I think those are important,
100%.
Undervalued sets. This is another good one. Again, I kind of let this open ended because I figured people were going to include Merlin from the 90s and Panini Calcio from the 90s. So I considered the 90s part of modern, not really, but I think 90s soccer is probably like 1950s baseball, if you think about it. In that analogy, that's how I think of it. Kind of looking at it that way. So like these are the 4 sets that people thought were undervalued. So 2017 Panini Nobility, really cool cards. I think they're really nice. I'd never been one to be like, wow, I need to get one of those. They're nice, but I'm not totally in love with it. 2020-21 Panini Prism EPL, first year Prism EPL. Obviously, a few guys there. Pulisic, Vitinha's rookie is in that set, which has become kind of a card that people want these days. There's also, I think there's some parallels in there. I don't think there's any Ronaldo cards in there. There might be a Man U kind of, but he wasn't on Man U at that point yet. But there might be a Man U tribute card. I can't remember.
I would say though, like of like the Premier League Prism cards, that's definitely one of the better. That's like the one set that I actually kind of do enjoy. The new stuff, I'm like, I'll only buy it if it's like an Arsenal player.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really have a whole lot of Arsenal cards. I've got just a couple. Like,
yep.
A lot of the, well, I mean, at the time they weren't, 2016, 17, 18, they weren't in the Champions League, and I don't really like the new set so much. So that's why I'm in it.
And then you have the 90s Merlin and the 90s Panini Calcio. There's a few guys out there that Oak City Collector, shout out to him up in Canada as well. He buys a lot of Ronaldo stuff, R9 stuff from those sets. And then Jamie UK Card Collector, he buys a lot of that stuff too. There's stuff that's numbered. There's like he was looking for Rui Costa, and I think it was from like the 1997 or 98 Panini Calcio. I don't know if they're rubies or what they are. I can't remember exactly, but they had numbered cards in that those sets. I agree. I think some of this stuff here, primarily this stuff here, I think is undervalued. But again, getting things to gem from that generation, if you find stuff raw, is going to be very difficult because of how people stored things. I think this told me a few things. Is I think that people see a lot of potential in modern cards, rookies, and even pre-modern legends, right? These are guys, the Paulo Maldinis, they were playing at that time. It's not a rookie, but it's a card. Even you think about Roy Keane's first card, which is, I think, 1991 Pro Set. He's in there. You have the 94 World Cup that I've talked about a few weeks ago or a few months ago with the honorary captain cards in there with Jordan, Reggie Jackson, Montana, Wayne Gretzky. You have Figo rookies in there. You have, which was, some people say, oh, it's not a rookie. This rookie's a sticker. Yeah, the sticker market, again, is different than the soccer card market. So I think even those sets, and I know Upper Deck, they say, well, that's part of the junk wax. It is, but those PSA 10s still do really well. Mia Hamm's in those sets too. They do really well. They're significant cards, and I think they'll continue to rise. These will continue to rise no matter what, especially if you get stuff in high grades. If you get them raw and you get them graded and they grade high, good for you. Congratulations. That's amazing. But again, people didn't store stuff correctly. So you kind of sit here, and I'm thinking about this now, is like, I have so many stuff that's numbered in just penny sleeves. And I'm like, who's to say that this stuff might not be worth more money later on down the road, right? Even though it's a player that's irrelevant, but then people are looking for sets or collecting sets and they need those cards, kind of like the treble boom, right? Treble boom because people wanted those specific cards. I think they're cool. I don't think necessarily that they're all that. I think a few people kind of bump those up in value and influenced collectors versus collecting what you want. And like, they are nice cards. I'll admit that, but I'm not a total big, huge fan of it. Here's some of the modern stuff people still find for the future that'll be significant. 2014 Prism World Cup, no surprise there, Sam, right? Like we've been talking about that for what, maybe 2 years now. I don't know how long. 18, which is a set that I think probably get more notoriety. 20 products of the strong rookie class. Those Sapphire cards are beautiful. I love Sapphire. Even Sapphire cards I think they're valued. I don't think they're undervalued. I think they're valued probably right. And I think they'll continue to like see a premium because they just don't produce as many of you look back at the production run on those, it's just produce a lot less. That was if you were part of the Montgomery Club at that point, you were able to get access to those cards. And I think they still have that, where those members were able to buy boxes before anybody else. And then if they sold out, they sold out, and that's what happened. Select again, popping up on here. No surprise. Well, surprise for me, obviously. And then Merlin, not surprised, but we look back at the earlier survey results and these things are popping up again, where you would have thought Merlin would have been ranked higher in those sets, and it wasn't. But here, people are talking about the future potential value or significance of those sets, and that's probably driven by the rookie class in there. Do you see anything here that is kind of, let's say, strange or no surprises?
I don't think there's really, to me, any surprises. I think it's, just I think the set, like, there's I think one thing, so like obviously the price of Merlin, like the rookie class, they keep doing well. You're gonna see the price of the card is doing well. Is Merlin done forever producing like this set of cards, or are they taking like a year off? Like, what if this is like they did I think 3 or 4 years of it. I can't remember. 3 years, 4 years.
2020, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25. I think they did 4, right? 2021, 21, 22,
right.
22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 5 years.
5 years. So I think they're, if they're taking a break, like taking a break, not producing it for a year or two, it'll be interesting to see like what the price of that does, as well as like if the players continue that are in that rookie class continue to do well. It might be one that people kind of forget about. I don't know. It just kind of depends, I guess, on how things go with it.
Yeah. For me, one of the things that was kind of not shocking, I wasn't surprised by it, but seeing Select here, and I think part of why Select was here is if you look back at last year's release of 24-25 Select, right? You had Lamine Yamal rookies,
right?
You had Joker as rookies, you had Dirk rookies, you had Estevan rookies, you had Nev's kind of first premium card, first autos, a really significant set. And if you look at the wax prices on the Select stuff the last few years, even this year,
like
the prices just climbed. Yeah, 400 or 500, double what it cost tops. People, again, a reminder to you guys is that they produced, I think, almost 11,000 cases of Chrome, while Select, I think it was, trying to do the numbers off the top of my head here. And so does Soccer Cards HQ because he does a lot of these numbers. But I think Select was, I want to say 2,500 cases this past year. I'm going to confirm that first, though, before I even say that, because you start to, 24-25 Panini Select, 24-25, so yeah, the smallest print runs. That was Serie A. Then before that, you had the year with Kavic's rookies in it. But 24-25 Select, this is Premier League. We don't want that. We want FIFA. So FIFA Select
That's a fun
yeah, rip. It's a great rip. 1,500 hobby cases as compared to Tops last year, which had like 10,000, I think, 10,500 cases. And then you ask yourself, those Select cards, even the field levels that aren't parallels, they're going to have significant value at some point. People are going to want that stuff. Not surprised. I am surprised kind of, but not surprised to see that here. I think it was driven by the fact of a strong rookie class in that product. I think they knocked it out of the park with 24-25, even the year before. I think Panini's, like, anytime it's come out, it's been great. Just a big fan. I then asked some questions about breaks in the market sentiment and this is for the breakers. A few breakers filled out the survey, but I think this is probably of interest to them. 70% of the surveyors participate in breaks, 20% buy singles, and 10% I'm a degenerate. So basically 80% of people participate in breaks, which I was kind of shocked a little bit given market conditions over the last 2 summers. It kind of shocked me a little bit that I would have thought we would have seen this number a little higher, maybe in the 35 to 40% range, but it wasn't. I think that gambling aspect is there. And then you look down at the monthly spending on breaks, 40%, $10 to $50, 51 to 150 to 35%, 15% spend over 151 a month. And then number 4, I'm a degenerate, 10%. That probably means that I would say if you take the 35 and the 15 and the 10, what do you get there? 60%? 60% of people are spending over $51 a month on breaks, which I think is reasonable. But if they break it down further, I think 25% are spending over $150 a month in breaks. I know I don't do that anymore. It's just not sustainable to try to buy into these breaks where you're hoping to pull numbered Rodrigo Mora card or a Endrick or a Lionel Messi auto. It's just not going to happen. It's very difficult.
Very, very low odds.
Yeah, so I guess I wasn't that surprised by this. I was mostly surprised by the idea that less people are buying singles. I would have thought more people are buying singles. Your kind of thoughts on this?
I mean, I don't break a ton every now and then, but it's like more so when I have money to do it, and I'm like, whatever, let's have some fun. Probably do like to buy singles, like stuff I like, stuff that I'm like, all right, well, I bought this, say I bought this card for $10. It has a $10 value, like, or at least I value it at $10. So it's like, that way I'm like, all right, say you buy a break for $10 and you get Jack Diddley squats. So it's like, at least I know I'm buying. Well, I know what I'm getting.
Yep.
But I'm not gonna lie, it is fun to gamble sometimes, and sometimes
it is, of course. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's just it's kind of like, if you pull a big card, you kind of have to make the decision: do I sell this or do I keep this?
Right.
And I think I talked about this like last year, where I was getting into Sapphire breaks, trying to get a Nev's low numbered card. I did the math and I was like, what am I doing? I could have just bought the of 5 for less than the money I spent on the damn break. It wasn't worth it.
100%.
Especially like a Team Benfica where there's no autos in there. It's like, well, it makes no sense. This is interesting. I think some breakers will be amused to see this. Some people may even look at it and say, shit, I got to calm down. So that was kind of interesting. All right. Now I did a question on sentiment on breakers. Good to see that 50% of the people think they're good people. 45% of people think they're priced too high. 40% of people thought it's a money grab. And 25% of people thought they were knowledgeable. That's not very encouraging. And number 5, don't know the game. 15% of people thought they didn't know the game. That's kind of very, I don't know, eye-opening. I think breaks are popular, but divisive pricing and authenticity concerns are prevalent in the hobby, especially in breaks. Kind of is concerning that 25% people thought only 25% of people thought that the breakers are actually knowledgeable, and only 15% of people 15% of people thought that they don't know the game. That's kind of doesn't really bode well for breakers, I don't think.
No,
and I've broken in the past too, but it's just, I don't know. And there's not much to say we want to say here about this, but 50% of people thought they're good people. So the other 50% don't think they're good people. I mean, I don't know.
Don't have an opinion on them, don't care.
Yeah.
Breaker.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just the breakers, Then I asked card shows, millennials to attend. 90% of people said they'd attend card shows. So that's not a surprise. I'm not surprised by that. I think I was more surprised that people said no, actually. And then this was interesting. The factors that encourage attendance, right? Number 1 is the presence of soccer legends. 50% of the crowd said they would basically travel to a show if they had soccer legends there. And nobody's been able to do that quite yet, I don't think. And I'm going to talk to Hooked on Soccer Cards this week to find out if they're doing anything precisely for that. And I think they are having somebody. I can't remember if they are or not, but I have to look at that thing again. And he's got a lot of contacts, so he may have something. I'm not sure, but I think I think some of these shows are missing the boat. Like, I don't know if Soko, it could be, and I got to talk to Scott there too eventually, but I think it could become one of those, could be a money thing. Some of these guys want you to, they want to be flight out. They want to, be wined and dined to be able to go to these events, and it costs a lot of money. You want to get a Ronaldinho in the place. A lot of people would go, but it's probably going to cost an arm and a leg to get somebody there. So that becomes kind of and then it's kind of deciding on who's a significant guy to have. Like, I think it would be cool if they could get like even a U.S. legend, like could be like Tony Miola or Alexi Lalas, right? I think those guys draw people. Maybe not a whole bunch, but I think they would. Even a Freddie Adu, because of the fact that he never became what he was supposed to become. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is, Sam. If you have a solution for that, feel free to let anybody know how they can do that. But I don't know what the solution is for that. I think that just costs a lot of money. And it probably requires shows to sell autograph, opportunities at 50, 80, $100, whatever it is. Yeah. Kind of like the National does with having athletes, right? And charging them based on what they're signing, a rookie card. Like, I know Bobby Orr, for example, charges more if you go and have his rookie card signed versus a regular card.
Interesting.
Because of the value.
Right.
I think it's because of the value. So they're kind of, I'm not saying he's taking that from PSA, but if you think about it, PSA charges you more for a card because of its value.
Right.
So he's gonna do the same. You know what I mean? So makes sense. So I don't know what the answer is there on that. But the next one was quality vendors and rare cards, 30%. Community interaction, 15%. That actually surprised me. I would have thought that would have been higher. And then location and cost at 5%. So location and cost is not a big deal, which is crazy to me that it was that low. But community interaction, I would have thought that would have been higher.
I think I definitely would my list would definitely be different. I think for me, like I think the thing that I enjoyed most about the Soko was just hanging out with people, like being able to hang out with you for that whole day was fun. Meeting Kentucky Fried Sports Cards, hanging out with Common and Bikozy, just like that, being able to do that just was super, for me, it was super fun. Just being able to hang out, like people live all over the world. The other thing that's interesting though, going to the last thing, the location and cost, I went to the first year for one day because it was in Cleveland, which is about 2.5 hour drive from where I was. Had a blast. And like, I remember telling like a bunch of people, oh, you gotta go. And like everybody, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna plan on going. And then, you're talking about it. And, I had a bunch of people that are like they just wishy-washy, get out of it. Don't end up going. I had a lot of interactions. Like, so, I get, it costs money to do it. You take 3 days, 4 days, half a week to do it. But like for me, I would say community interactions there. I think just the quality of vendor, like in the rare cards and location, those things I think to me are a little bit more higher than, having a soccer legend.
Yeah, that's kind of like, for me, that's why this list surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the guys from Soko would look at this, they'd be like, what? This makes no sense. You know what I mean? I get number 2. I understand that. Because people don't want to dig through boxes. I mean, I like to do that, but hey, not everyone's like me.
It's
but
fun.
I'm with you. I think the community interaction is very important. For me, that's number 1 too. And then vendors and rare cards, I'm kind of like split on that. I'm okay with whomever's there. It's cool because that's part of the community interaction. Presence of soccer legends could be an interesting thing to think about, these guys that are running these shows, and because it's right here. It's right here. I could give this to the Soko guys and say, here's what you guys need to do based on this survey. You guys need to get soccer legends there, and then you maybe get more people. And they still did very well. But the location and cost is only 5% of their kind of judgment. Was kind of weird to me. It's like, so you don't care where it is. So basically, this is kind of telling me that dedicated soccer card shows are highly appealing, especially with exclusive attraction. The exclusive attraction, I think, is the soccer legends, or could be the area. Like, I went to school in upstate New York, in a little town called Oneonta. Do you know what's in Oneonta?
Do not.
The U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame. So my college, Hartwick College, they used to be a Division I soccer school. They won a national title in the 70s, I think, 77 or 79, something like that. They were sponsored by Nike while I was there at school, but the Soccer Hall of Fame is there and people don't know that. So it becomes kind of, is there something I could work out with my school,
Yeah.
right? Where there's that kind of history and then leverage the Soccer Hall of Fame to create a soccer show in upstate New York. It's upstate New York, though. It's a hard place to get to. Oneonta is like an hour from Binghamton, an hour from Albany. So it's, people could fly into Albany, but, then you got to rent a car. Is it feasible? I don't think so, but based on this list here, location and cost is not a problem. So, who knows?
I think like another thing to look at too is like obviously there's the SoCo, which is a soccer only thing. I know you were talking about your friend that's doing like a soccer only show in New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
But like when you like go to like shows, like obviously football, basketball, baseball, they've been around, hockey, they've been around a lot longer card wise. So when I go to a show in Ohio where I live, predominantly the only like soccer cards you see are like every now and then you'll see like Yamal, you'll see like Messi, you'll see like the bigger named players. So like I think sometimes like for myself, like I remember when I went to a couple shows when I first started collecting, I got really disheartened because it just wasn't soccer. Like it was like,
yeah,
I came here to, so like, obviously you got to keep showing up. Like, you're going to find either people that want to buy soccer or you'll find people in that way. But it's like, at the same time too, though, like two of my favorite cards I've ever purchased both came from, Pig Barn and just a show where somebody happened to have a few soccer cards and had something that I liked.
Yeah. And I run into the same problem in Connecticut. Once in a while I make it down to New York and I see Downtown Soccer Cards. Jeremy, shout out to him. But I've been down to Laz's shows in New York, in New Jersey, like once or twice, and there's a few vendors there with soccer. Now I haven't gone in a while, so I imagine some of those guys are probably done. They're not even in the soccer space anymore. Who knows? Because again, it's not as easy as it was before. And I haven't gone to many shows recently around here, so it's hard. Maybe this weekend I will. I am having a birthday this weekend, so maybe I'll have the ability to ask for permission to go to a card show locally. So, but I almost guarantee I won't run into anything. What I'll probably run into is kind of like at the National, right? You see the cases with all the basketball, the baseball, football, and then all of a sudden you see one big Lamine Yamal card in there too, because he's the hot thing right now. So yeah, so this is interesting. I think I'm going to share this with the guys from SoCo eventually. Maybe I'll have them on at some point. We can discuss this piece with them, or I'll share with them. So kind of, and I think, we got one more slide after this, but the key trends and the future trends, obviously surge in interest for rookie cards and autographs driven by the young stars, which is the Mbappes, the Bellinghams, the Haalands of the world, and now the Lamine Yamals of the world, right? His stuff is really bumped up a lot. Desiree Doué is that nature. There's the nostalgia for the early 2000s, the mega cracks, the 14 prisms, the 1990s pre-modern sets. That there alone kind of narrows you into a if you want to collect a certain way, you start to say, okay, I'm going to focus on 2014 prism, or I'm going to focus on 1990s pre-modern sets. Could be the pro sets, could be the Panini Calcio sets, the Merlins of the world. And then you start to even look at the mid 2015, 2014. There was Stadium Club. There was Topps Champions League set that was released before Chrome. It was a paper product, but it's a cool set.
Oh, crap.
I keep forgetting the name of it.
Oh, crap. I cannot. I know the set. I just cannot remember the name of it.
Yeah, even the Donruss stuff with Foden rookies and excuse me. Just some of the stuff from the mid 2000s. Well, that's not really mid 2000s, probably 2018, 2017. But, and then lastly, the concerns about oversaturation, too many cards and too many players in a finite market. And that's a quote I pulled from somebody in the survey. And I can't remember who that was. Might have to go back and give them credit, but whoever that was, great quote. Too many cards, too many players in a finite market. And that's kind of the dynamics of soccer, is that we have very many leagues. There isn't one person. Well, there is actually. There's a Champions League, right? But you don't get everybody in Europe does not participate in that. We're talking about coefficients in the UEFA scale of the strength of leagues, right? So we don't get to see some teams in those competitions, maybe the Europa League or the Federation Cup, but like you just don't get to see everybody play against each other, and you don't understand how some teams are, much better than another team. You start to think about La Liga, right? You have Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. Those are consistently the top 3 teams. In Portugal, Benfica, Porto, Sporting. Consistently the top 3 teams. Lately, it's been Sporting, Benfica, Porto. And then you start to look at and say, and I had a discussion with Rui Patricio Collector about this, and we talked about, and this is a while back, but we were talking about like the 5th and 6th place teams in those leagues, right? Who would beat who, right? Or like, and I've said this before, I'm on record as saying that I think the Serie A is the best league in the world because of the winning mentality that those teams have. You see what Inter did to many teams in the Champions League last year. You know what they played Arsenal. They played your team, right? Arsenal, was it Arsenal? Inter? No, Inter beat Barcelona. Yeah, Inter beat Barcelona.
Yeah, I don't think they played. Unless they played in the group stage, which.
Yeah, well, which now is different, right? They have the table, right? Which I think is good, but you have to start to think about that. You know, 5th place teams. Like, where would a Benfica finish in the EPL? You know, will they finish top 5? I'm not sure.
Right.
You know, Serie A team, where will they finish? I've said it before, Serie A, those guys are still slide tackling like you're supposed to. They're taught how to do that still. The EPL's gotten kind of, I don't want to say soft. It's a faster game, obviously. Yeah. The fastest game probably on the planet. But there are some drawbacks to it. So that's kind of the oversaturation is, I get that part. You know, too many cards, too many rookies of guys, where you have specific guys that don't like your Arsenal, right? Look at Saka, rookies. He's only got 1 rookie, I think, right?
He's got the Premier League. The first, I think it's like the first year at Prism. I could be wrong. Premier League.
It's Chronicles, actually. It's a year before.
Okay.
So the same year Leon's got the rookie, the ticket. I think the Saka's a what's that insert? Is it Pitch Prodigies? Okay. It might be. Many people consider that as rookie. So he's a guy that doesn't have a lot of rookies. He's only got 1. So I get where people's frustration comes, but I think people also need to understand that the other sports have gotten away with this forever. You know, look at football. Like, they have so many rookie cards, but then in football, the RPAs command the most money. Right. And in soccer, we're not there yet. I love Museum. Museum's awesome, but nobody wants it. I don't understand why. It's such good stuff. You have any Museum stuff?
I got a little bit. I mean, my problem though with like Museum, like, so got a Goatsa right here.
Oh yeah.
Got the patch. The relic contained in this card is not from any specific match, event, or season. So it's just probably somebody went to the
well, what does the front of what was the front? Does the front say anything?
I don't believe so. No, it's just got a yellow and black kind of polka dotty.
So sometimes Museum says that on the back, and then on the front it says game used.
Okay, yeah, I don't see anything on that.
It's really weird. So I don't. Yeah, I get it. It's like, I understand people's frustration with that, but
somebody probably went to the soccer outlet store, found a Dortmund kit, and brought it over, cut it up, and threw it in the card.
This is true. So after I did the survey, you know, I came up with I could have come up with a whole list of future predictions, but I didn't. I only did 3. I've only put 3 on here. 2026 World Cup in the USA could boost soccer popularity. Again, I said could boost. I'm not saying it's going to, so take that with a grain of salt. I actually don't think it will. I think you'll see maybe Messi, Ronaldo. If Ronaldo wins the World Cup, yeah, things are going to pop off crazy for him. But I think for those two, it'll be their last World Cup. So there is significance in those cards. Obviously, they'll be very significant. You know, and there's other players too that it potentially could be their last World Cups too. I don't know if KDB's coming back for Belgium or not. If he still has a spot on that team, I just don't know. But you're starting to see a changing of the guard, right? Of these players that have been around the last 10 years. Messi and Ronaldo, those guys are just different. They're different. And then you're starting to see guys that are going to come into their second World Cups, like the Bellinghams of the world,
right?
Or a Pedri, right? What are they going to do now? And Lamine Yamal's coming into his first World Cup, right? For Lamine. Yep. So that'll be interesting to see. And then I put the women's soccer cards on here too, because I thought they were interesting. And U.S. men's national team cards may see increased interest as the sport grows, obviously, with it being in the USA. Kids may say, I like Christian Pulisic, or right. I like Ricardo Pepe, or I like, Musa, or I like, whomever maybe. I think Weston McKennie's the best U.S. player, well, besides Pulisic, but, things of that nature. The women's soccer cards are interesting. Martha is one funny story. when I was in college, the Brazilian women, they played a game that was broadcast on ESPN. And I used to work for the sports information office at Harwick. And I was an announcer and I got to announce that game. And it was on ESPN, and Martha played in that game. And I didn't know who she was, obviously. Today I do know who she is because she's a legend.
Right.
Significant women play. And I think her stuff, and I don't follow women's soccer probably as much as you do or some of the other people do.
I
But
don't follow it super much, but I think it's something that is, you have like a very heavy women's collectors out there, and I know a good number of them, or I've met a good number of them. But I think it's something, to me, that you're gonna start seeing like some like the players like blow up. The last day at the SoCo, purchased the Pina's their second year card out of 5, and I'm like, I know she had a good Euro, so I'm like, well, might as well see what she does.
what she does, yeah. Like I would actually like to get there's a Portuguese player that plays for Barcelona, Kika Nazareth, who was a Benfica player originally. I'd like to get one of her like gold cards or something just to have it.
Yeah.
So those will be interesting. And I skipped over number 2 for a second. The low number parallels and SSPs are likely to gain value due to print run concerns. Again, SSPs, what truly is an SSP? I don't think people really understand that in the hobby, or an SP, right? Short print and then super short print. Like, Upper Deck does a really good job of this with hockey. We actually, we don't always know the print runs, but we know when stuff is really short. It's like the hollow types. That insert I was talking about before, it's like 1 in, I think it's 3.5 cases. And once they make a player of that, from that set, they'll never make it again. So Bedard happened to have one in his rookie year, and I got one. And I think I paid like $70 for it. But if he becomes something like they think he's going to become, that could be a significant card to have. And then Crosby, right, a proven generational talent for hockey. And I hate to talk about hockey, but I'm always comparing Upper Deck to some of this stuff because I think soccer can take a lot of cues from that. Because like hockey, soccer is in its infancy stage, where hockey has now matured quite a bit. The Cup only came out, less than 25 years ago. I think the first Cup was 03, 04, or I can't remember. But that's, the league was working with them. I think maybe the Champions League and Tops need to work more together to create those kind of really interesting cards. Do they try to do something like, not Dynasty, but like, like the Cup, where they're $1,200 boxes and you have, the cards don't all look the same. Like Upper Deck doesn't do that. They have different cards in that product, and they mean different things to different people, different collectors. That's going to be interesting. Again, I think Kabooms are really the only significant SSP that people should, or SP that people should care about. I mean, again, it would have been cool if they only made one ever of each player, but they have the opportunity where they can make one of a club and of a national team, right? And then the low number parallels. And some people define this differently. I mean, how do you, in terms of low numbered parallels?
I think
I look at this, I'm kind of like,
what do you classify? Where do you classify?
yeah, because you start to look at like the old Prism stuff, like that stuff's not around.
Yeah.
So even if like I got that Select Ronaldo recently of $299, yeah, it's up $299, but that card in a PSA 10 is still a $300 card.
Right.
It's because with age, right? Everything like wine, right? Aging like fine wine. What do you like? For me personally, I kind of want to hear your perspective on this. I'm of the notion that anything under 50 is really good, like in the current space, in the current year. But after time passes by, I don't think there's any limits on it.
I mean, I think personally, I think the gold parallel, like obviously it's different in a Topps and Panini, one's out of 10, one's out of 50. I think gold just the way it looks is probably my favorite. But then I think anything under 50 is not bad, but it's like also goes to like a rookie card. Like I recently graded a Echeverry Red Wave out, I think, a 165, I want to say, and was able to sell it for like I think $110 after $110. So like, people might say, oh, it's a high numbered card, but it's like, still moved it for a pretty good chunk of change, and it's not low numbered. So I think it probably depends more so like rookie stuff too with that. But like for me also, it's like, I don't mind out of 99 if it's a player I like. It's a cool, good looking card. Cool. If it's out of 150 player I like, yeah, it doesn't bother me.
It's kind of like the Merlin Atomic Refractor, right? What are those out of 250?
50.
Yeah, those are nice. Those are beautiful cards. You know what I mean? They're beautiful cards, and they consistently hold value. They do. And that Echeverry you brought up, that again, that's another guy that was from that release of
Yep.
Select, where he only has that rookie. So I think, the perspective that you're sharing there in terms of it being numbered to, what was you say, 199?
I think it was 165. I could be wrong.
Okay, 165.
I know.
It doesn't matter. It's his only rookie. So
Right.
it's kind of like, and it's Panini Select where there's only, what did I say earlier, 1,500 cases.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's not in Chrome. He's not in this,
Donruss.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Donruss. Yeah, that's right. Donruss. He's got Donruss. He's got the Optic, and then he's got Select, right? And he probably has an Obsidian too. I want to say maybe Immaculate. I don't know. I haven't seen Immaculate with him, but
I guarantee you they're gonna try and find a way to put a rookie badge on some of his stuff too. Like with Man City when he comes back from his injury.
yeah, Topps will do that. They'll do a Topps Now card with the rookie badge, and then they'll put him in the product with no rookie badge.
Right.
That's what they'll do. And I think Topps intentionally does that to kind of promote the Topps product quite a bit. So, so that's an interesting perspective. I feel the same way on some of this numbered stuff. Like some of usually the of 99s from Topps Chrome, those are usually green, right?
I believe, yes.
Or yeah, and I actually like those. Those look nice.
I know you're not a sporty person, but the green on green with the sporty.
Yeah. Yep. So it makes it really hard for me to collect Benfica because they're red and the reds are really low numbered. So it makes it really difficult. Really difficult. No, out of 5 actually, I think, right?
I was going off from like the Merlin, like
oh yeah, Sapphire's like out of 5.
Right. I think Stadium Club has like I think a reddish something too, like out of 4 or 5. So they have like a bunch of different random colors and what.
So I think we've come to the last slide here, and then before I end this, Sam, I'm going to have you like kind of give me your kind of synopsis of all this, anything that shocked you. But in summary, here's the deal. Collectors are prioritizing rookie cards, autographs, and iconic players like Messi, Ronaldo. We know that. Chrome Select, they lead the brand preferences with 2014 World Cup Prism being kind of the gold standard of the hobby. Rarity, legacy, and historical significance drive card value. So that's interesting. Again, rarity, legacy, and historical significance drive the card value, not necessarily low numbered parallels, which was really interesting. Community engagement and soccer specific events are critical for hobby growth. So as of now, like I said before, you have Soko and you have Hooked on Soccer, who's doing a soccer only show in September. I think it's late September in New Jersey. But
you guys out there, northern.
Oh yeah, that's right. Those guys gotta come on too. I gotta have those guys on to the NOCO, right? NOCO they call it, the Northern Soccer Cards Expo. So that's only 3 in the United States and Canada. There's definitely room for more. The question is who goes in and does it and tries to do it better than anybody else. It's a niche market, right? So it kind of becomes that thing. And then like finally, like one of the things that we can do to continue to grow the hobby as a collective community and group is support card shows, right? I think that's relatively known. Invest in undervalued legends and educate the market and collect with passion. So I know for me and having you on and having Peeps My Cards and any other guest that's ever come on, I thank all of you because you guys give different perspectives on different things. I think it's valuable for people to know, but I think it's also important for people to know that you should collect the way you want to, whether you're in it for the money or you're in it to collect or you're in it for both, because we do the both, right? We try to sell stuff to fund PC items and whatnot. It doesn't matter. I think everybody can educate each other on different things and learning. Like a lot of people don't know about card hobby. Like I had somebody message me a few weeks ago, like, dude, it says they ship my cards, but nothing's showing up. I'm like, it'll show up on your steps. Don't worry. It actually shows up quicker to your steps and an order from Whatnot would. So, and I never heard back from them. So I assume they got their order came in. So I think people, and you're protected financially from that stuff anyways, but like, I think that's the only way. And that's kind of a reason why I try to do this and have you come on. And like I said, Peeps My Cards, get different perspectives. He's a good kind of guy to bring on because he's coming into this new and he's doing really, really well in it and understanding the market. But again, part of it, I've always said this, you've known me for a few years now. They talk about do the eye test with these players. You got to watch the players to understand why they're significant or why they're good. But any last kind of thoughts on any of this stuff?
I think it's fun to actually see someone like, thank you for taking the time to actually put together, like, send out the survey to get these numbers, because like I've not seen anybody dive in, dig into it, and like try and put this together. I think like I think some of it is like people know like the 2014 stuff, but like I think some like some of the sets that didn't necessarily make that top 10, but like people like were talking about it. Like I was interested to see like kind of like where they fill in the line. Like there's a lot of older cards that I've seen. Like you were talking about like the Calcio cards. Like I know of them, but I don't really have like any of them per se. Like I might have like one Calcio card in my collection, but it's like stuff like that where it's like it'd be fun to like maybe try and learn more about like that set of like those cards and some of like the different players from them. He's like it's just new. That's like new stuff to me. Like I enjoy the weird odd stuff. Like somebody randomly sold like this like card Pepsi something or whatever from like somewhere in Asia, and it's like I knew who it was, and like just something you don't see every day. So like I like buying stuff that you don't see as commonly. And one thing I would say about myself is I'm definitely a collector first. I have a hard time when I get bored of something. Sometimes I get a little like having buying a car and then like okay, I've had it for a while, like long enough, I want to move it on. Sometimes like if, when I get something new, it's like I like people are like, oh, I'll give you I want that card, I want that card. Well, I'm like, I don't want to move it. I just I just bought it. Like
Yeah.
fresh, it's new.
That's usually the case with a lot of people. They see something they like, and kind of the old FOMO thing. And you were seeing this with the Ronaldo Messi stuff right now, right? People are like, I don't own a Ronaldo rookie. I really want one, but I can't afford it. You know what I mean? I have to like consider like, what do I need to sell to get that? You know what I mean? And maybe it's, like the Nevs I have up the 1 of 1. I mean, I don't think that would cover it anyways, but it becomes one of those things like, do you settle and get like a PSA 1 or PSA 2, right?
Right.
Because you want that card, right? Because it means something to you. And for me, it would like a PSA 1, no big deal. I'm happy I have it. Like that Portugal card I showed earlier. I actually didn't realize the pop count on that was so low, that there's only 12 of them graded. It makes you wonder where the hell the other ones are. You know what I mean? Because there's 243 of them printed, I think I said, but there's only 4 10s, 4 9s, and 4 8s.
Right.
And this one actually I cracked out of an SGC slab, because that was a 9.5 in an SGC slab. And I cracked it a few years ago and sent it to the PSA, and I got an 8. So I was like, damn. I mean, I should probably crack it again and just send it to PSA again, but I won't take my chances because I know the grading are harder now too.
Right.
But like stuff like that, you start to, as the years pass, right, we start to find stuff in the collection that we've had that maybe we didn't really care for. We're now like, wow, I have this. This is crazy. I still have this, and that's going to happen for a while because we have boxes of all this stuff that we probably should sell some of it, go on Whatnot, start stuff at $1, sell it. I have a lot of bought some select stuff this year. Some of those blasters that show up at, Walmart or Target. And for some reason, I've hit every Mbappe, I hit the Mbappe like field level pink, like the purple mojo as well, then the regular Mbappe purple mojo. So I've hit them all, but now I'm like, do we grade these? Probably. I probably should grade these, right? Because if he has a good year, people are going to want the card. And you imagine that the hobby is going to grow this year with the World Cup. So that's something to look forward to. And again, I'm out there still looking for, remember all those 2014 World Cup cards I had? I had a bunch of them. I sold some, but then other ones didn't sell. I said, you know what? Screw it. Let's just grade them and see what happens. Because there are buyers. Once they're graded, and if they come back high grades, there are buyers for them.
Right.
Some of them I want to keep, but like, but some of the stuff, and I think I saw a Portugal card recently sell for like, it was like a red gold pulsar, not even numbered. I think it sold for a ridiculous amount of money. It was a PSA 10.
I'll be honest, some of like the prices though, like there was a PSA 10 Silva that sold recently for like $20, like the price of grade, and it's like, and that's a PSA 10, like probably like low, very low pop. I'm like, man, like somebody got a good deal on it. Like,
was that a David Silva card?
No, it was Thiago. It's
Oh,
PSA 10. So it's like
okay.
it's one of the different inserts they had, or not inserts, one of the different parallels. And I'm just like, I feel like I sold pretty. In my opinion, I think it sold low.
Yeah,
Whoever
yeah.
got it got
No, I think,
a good deal.
yeah, I think that's, I mean, you're on the right track. I think a lot of people are right that those sets in 10 years from now, they're timeless. You know, you're going to see that stuff it's going to turn into the kind of the vintage of soccer, right? Like
Right.
first prisms, like with the other sports. You know, a Brady recently, a second year Brady gold recently sold for, I think, almost 200K.
Sheesh. Crazy.
It's I think it was 150, something like that. And it's just that that's a second year prism gold. It's kind of wild to think about, you know?
Yeah.
But I think you and many others are on the right track where you're buying some of that older stuff. I need to look at that more specifically. I don't do enough of that. And it's more fun too, because sometimes you run into players that you really liked and enjoyed watching play. And I think that's key. Um, any last words? We've been on for what, 2 hours, 2+ hours?
Fucking.
Yeah, 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. And I thought this was going to be a little quicker. I mean, I'm probably going to have to edit the beginning of this because it was kind of chopped up, but we'll edit that tonight and then publish it. I'm probably not going to wait for YouTube to publish. I'm probably going to launch this right away. I do want to share with some folks, specifically at Panini and Tops, for some permissions I need, obviously, because I think this will help them. Obviously, it'll help their marketing department, help their sales department to look at what collectors are looking for and why, what's what.
Yeah.
But I think this was a good first crack at a survey to look at the market and understand what's going on. And this will evolve this coming year. Any last things?
Nah. Thanks for having me on again. It's always a pleasure.
All right, man. This was fun. I'm going to stop the recording now. But guys, in a second, I'll stop it and I'll have you. I pulled the trigger on my first PC card from your Ronaldo video. Oh, man. Justin, you're the best, man. Thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate you. I'm surprised you didn't have any questions. This week, guys, if you saw my background here, you can see the guy behind me here. That's Gabriel Batistuta. I'm doing these special people short podcasts. There's been 2 of them thus far. George Costa, who passed away a few weeks ago. And then I did Batigol last week. Gabriel Batistuta, Argentinian legend, who was the leading goal scorer of Argentina before Messi broke the record, obviously. But this week, due to your votes, I'm going to go with Paulo Futre this week. For those that don't know him, you'll get to learn about him. Next week, we'll cover Rivaldo. He was second on the voting. I'll cover him next week. And I'm also this week, we'll probably have 2 podcasts. This one, and then another one with Hooked on Soccer. He's got that card show coming up. So that'll be important. Then lastly, I think many of you do already follow me on Instagram at Special One Cards. If you're not following Wiggs Cards, follow him as well on there. And I think that's going to do it. And then any questions, guys, feel free. And for those that completed the survey, shoot me a message if you want this presentation. I'm happy to give it to you guys in a PDF format. Not one that can be edited, but I'll give it to you in a PDF format. Although some of you guys would probably figure out how to edit this thing anyways with a PDF format, but there are copyrights here. Guys. But for those that completed the survey, let me know. Happy to send you guys a copy of this so you guys can review. And I know some of you guys couldn't attend, so hopefully you watch this or listen to it. Today is Tuesday, but wait, today's Monday, right? Yeah, today's Monday. It's Monday. I'm already, yeah.
Got 26 minutes till Tuesday.
Yeah, till Tuesday. But you'll probably listen to this on Tuesday. And maybe, you know what I'll do probably, Sam? I'll probably release this in podcast format first. Okay. No, I wouldn't do that to the people. That would probably hurt feelings versus the video. But I'll release both of them for tomorrow. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Sam, stick around for a second before I get off. Cool. And well, because we got to wrap up, the recording's got to upload and whatnot. So, all right, guys, I appreciate all you guys. Make sure you follow Wiggs Cards and Peeps my Cards as well. Even though he was here late, it's gonna be in very big trouble for that, and he left early. But c'est la vie. He's a kid that's getting married soon. So, all right, guys, take care of yourselves. All right.
You are now listening to the world's best soccer card podcast. We love footy, and we love the cardboard they come on. Welcome to another edition of Special One Cards with your host, Paulo. The Special One Cards podcast is a part of SBCL Media, and now let's take it over to our host.